All right, everybody. I'm ready to roll. I hope you are. Uh, I'm Randall Baxter. I'm the president of Asset Positioning Services. And today we're going to talk about how to be an estate planning hero. Last week we were trying to pick our topic, and Greg Davison mentioned about working off the word hero. And I think we're going to do that. I just want you to know that what the screens you are about to see um, are feelings and expressions that have happened to me in my career as in estate planning, and just things that people have said to me. So, but before we get started, I just wanted to give us a definition. So what does it mean to be an estate planning hero? And I thought about it, and I decided it's a person who's admired or idealized for courage or outstanding achievements or noble qualities. And the reason I said that, I'll just tell you, yesterday I walked into an independent living community, and there was a lady standing there, and she ran up to me and she said, "I'm so glad you're here. We know you're going to solve the problems that we have today." And it just really made me feel good. And I want y'all to learn how to do things that can give you those feelings too. So, uh, you know, when I say what is an estate planning hero, it's someone who acts voluntarily for the service of others who are in need, and that's because you choose to be in this segment or this niche of the industry, and not everybody chooses to do that. A lot of people say they want to, but then don't do it. But it's the ones who actually go into it and know that they're helping families. Those are the people that are prospering the most and making the most money. So, you know, first thing I'm going to ask you to do, and it's kind of a conflict here, but just bear with me a minute. An estate planning hero performs an action without any expectation of reward or external gain. I know that I'm going to have a reward or an external gain, but that's on an overall basis. But that's not on the individual basis. You want to approach people because you think they would benefit from a conversation with you, whether you make any money or not. And you think that I'll be honest with you, the end result of that is that you're probably going to make money. But if you're not approaching people, you're probably not making a lot of money. I could probably go in and pull up all my licensees and tell which ones are making a lot of money, which ones aren't making much money. And it's usually because they do the approaches. So it doesn't mean that reward or external gain will not happen. It just means you shouldn't expect it when you approach to be expecting to help them. So all you need to do is, well, you've heard this before, but all you need to do is identify a person who may benefit from a conversation with you about their current estate plan and be brave enough to approach. I already said it once today, I think when I was having lunch with Greg, that sometimes we just need to call people scaredy cat if that's what they are. Remember that when we were kids? You're a scaredy cat. And if you're not a scaredy cat, then you need to approach people that you think would benefit from a conversation from what you know. And some of you are building on that knowledge every day. And I just need you to be aware that the more knowledge you build, the higher your income will go. So a true estate planning hero will accept and recognize the potential risk of rejection or sacrifice made with the proper approach. But I've already over and over and over, I've taught you all how to handle that. If you approach somebody and you say, "Hey, I think you're going to benefit from a conversation with me about your current estate plan," if they say why, the answer is because you may learn something in which you were not aware. And that should create enough curiosity in that person. And deep down, they're going to know you're right. They're going to know that they don't know everything they need to know. So my question for you is, are you capable of taking that risk? Are you brave enough and in control of things well enough to be able to say that to people and mean it and know that you're probably going to be one of the best at it because you've been trained? I'll be honest with you. The reason I do it is because it's a whole lot easier than any other approach I know of. Did you hear that? It's easier than any other approach I know of. It is. So a true estate planning hero will be idealistic, courageous, empathetic, humble, honest, and resilient. And the closer you can get to all of it, the better. Okay. And then, last week the question was, why are you here? This week, I'm asking you, are you brave enough to be good at this? So estate planning prospects want to think and expect these traits from the person they choose to lead them through this process. That's why I told you about the lady that when I walked in the door yesterday, she jumped up and ran and hugged me. And she told me that she was glad I was there. So you know what I did when I went upstairs and sat down in their living room and their elegant living room? I looked at them and I said, if you could have anything you wanted from this conversation today, what would it be? And they started spilling their guts. They started telling me everything that they wanted to achieve. Now, why would I tell you to do that? Because it makes it easier to be brave. Hey, if you could have anything you want from this conversation today, what would it be? And people, that surprises people because they're expecting you to come in and lecture them and tell them what's going on, but you're not going to do that. You're going to say, tell me what's going on. Tell me what's on your mind. So, it's a real easy path to follow if you just follow the family tree asset positioning go-to first interview. And that would include the agenda, the confidential, the sales presentation as taught. I got an email the other day from somebody out in California that said that they had 3 or 4 cases in and they were waiting on them to go to the free trial. And I said, well, that's probably why you're not making any sales. You're not doing the process correctly. You don't just send them a free trial and wait on them to respond. And we've got a whole class on using the free trial on the website if you want it. But everything that you need to know to be a gladiator who knows they're going to win when they go out into the Coliseum because they've practiced and they've studied and they know what's going to happen and they know what the reactions are going to be for their opponent. If you already know that by following the presentation, you know that they're going to come to the conclusion that you want them to come to. If you're good. If you're not good, it's because you're not practicing. If you're not practicing, you're going to lose the battle. So an estate planning hero will display a great capacity for strength, ability to nurture with charisma and inspiration. Getting somebody to spill their guts to you in 10 minutes and they don't even know you by following this right presentation, well, I'll be honest with you, you bond with those people when you talk to them correctly. And most of the people, when I'm finished with the first presentation, they'll go, that's the best explanation of an estate plan I ever heard. And I'm not explaining anything to them. I'm just walking them through the documents. And it's why I do it in reverse. And if you're not doing it in reverse, you're innovating instead of emulating. And again, I can tell you, I can almost promise you, I can look at the production reports and tell me, I can tell myself who's following the presentation or not. And then I look down there and I go, well, why are they not following that presentation? And why are they creating a monthly business expense or an annual business expense and then not following what they bought? That's just something maybe y'all think about a little bit. There's method to the madness that I present to you people in the order that I present it to you. And the reason I do is because it works. So if you want to be an estate planning hero, it's established by explaining the process in reverse. I guess I'll put an ing there after explain. There's my first misspelled word. By placing the prospect in the hospital in a coma and asking who they would choose to represent them at that point in time. The reason we do that is because you want to expose vulnerability. And when you do it in reverse, the very first thing when you expose them at their most vulnerable point, you ask them, Who are you going to call in to represent you? And when those people add that emotion, when they see that you've taken them to that point and you've helped them, they're all involved, and all of a sudden they're putting their fingers on the drawing. They're telling you who that person is. They're participating. You have to get a prospect to participate if you want to lead them to a good conclusion. And I don't know if y'all have read my book, but if you talk to the old soldier and he says, "Do it this way, and we'll all come back alive," well, and maybe we'll all get what we want. Why would you not do that? If you weren't out in the ditch that long, why wouldn't you follow somebody that had been in that ditch for a long, long time? You don't have to. You become a force for the greater good. In the mind of the person listening to you, you become a force for the greater good, defending those weaker than themselves at that particular moment in time we all must face someday. You know, people don't always just get up and want to talk about that. So you gotta take them there. You have to look at them and you say, "Come with me. We're going to go on a journey." And it'll help you understand what we need to accomplish today. So, when you do that, this is, you got to remember, this is what the client's thinking. The client you will be perceived as having, and I'm not lying to you here, as having some kind of magical superpower, a magical advantage, an exemplary personal trait, being elevated above the other financial professionals. Chuck Bauer, one of my early mentors and one of my friends, and sometimes I go back to his website, chuckbauer.com. He taught me how to be distinctive. And if you're distinctive, it sets you apart from all other people. Most of the time when I go into competition with a stockbroker, we're fighting over the monthly reports. If we're fighting over the monthly reports, I've usually already won the battle, because they have to defend something that they have not applied to their client's estate plan. Think about that. That's why I win most of those battles. But all of a sudden you get elevated to what I call the sweet spot. And you've heard me talk about it before. The sweet spot is that spot in a relationship that can become unchallengeable. Well, I wonder why that happens. Because, to be honest with you, your new client won't turn to their insurance agent, their lawyer, their stockbroker, or family member as a first resort anymore. They will refer to their estate planner, the person that knows them the best, not the person who handles their stocks and bonds. Now, I'm not saying that I'm not saying all stockbrokers don't know what they're doing. I'm just saying most of them don't when it comes to your estate plan. They say they do, but they make no effort to make the two congruent. And when you take the time to make those things congruent, you'll have a client for life. That's why I tell my clients I always give them my lifetime guarantee. But anyway, so that's the sweet spot. And you need to be aware of the sweet spot, and you need to value being able to acquire that position in their lives as their advisor in their estate plan. And you know what? If you're really, really, really good, you probably won't ever have any competition. So, being in the sweet spot will lead you to cases like the one I had yesterday. And I'm going to talk to you about that. Because, I always talk to you about, what do you do if you run into someone that already has an estate plan? Well, that doesn't scare me a bit, because I know that there's, that they've had asset changes and health changes and relationship changes, and probably the person that sold it to them has never called them again. If they already have an estate plan in effect, that shouldn't scare you a bit. You ought to go, yippee, I've got a nice prospect. So I met this couple in October of 2023. And just to be honest with you, There had been many relationship changes in their lives, lots of asset changes, lots of health changes that had occurred since they had purchased, that should be had, HAD. They had purchased an estate plan from another vendor. So by drawing their family tree, I found both to be in a second marriage with family issues on one side that were unstable and family conditions stable on the other. Now, how many stockbrokers you know that talk to families like that? How many families you know that talk to their stockbrokers or their insurance agent like that? If you're an estate planner, you go in and you get that information. You reach right into their chest and grab their heart and pull it right out, and you get that information from them. You do it very easily with the family tree, asset positioning, go-to first interview. Why some of you aren't doing it 2 or 3 a day is unbelievable to me. I don't do it 2 or 3 a day because I'm so busy trying to take care of the ones I've already done it with. If you want to be as busy as me, you might want to try the way I do it. So, you know, in this particular situation, both had lost long-term spouses to death. Dad was a military veteran of the Vietnam War and had a disability pension of about $7,000 awarded before their marriage. And he has already elected 100% benefit, and he can't change it because at the time he had no spouse. His spouse had already passed away to share it. So, and it became irrevocable when he made that decision. So that there's, he and his new wife are living really, really nice on that $7,000 because that disability benefit's tax-free. Plus, he got his Social Security, and she had Social Security, and in her younger days, she was an airline stewardess, and she had a pension from the airline. So they were, doing pretty well in income. Their total monthly income was $10,000 from the veteran and $3,000 from the spouse. And when I went in and I said, if you could have anything you want from this conversation, what would it be? He looked at me and he said, I need to be sure that the woman I love will have the income she needs when I die because she's going to lose almost all of the benefits that I have. Can you help me? So their Social Security benefits were virtually the same. There was a huge cliff if the veteran died first. It's about $10,000. Now, that's not every case. You're not going to run into that every case, but you're going to run into it if you're doing cases. So, the desire to keep the surviving spouse in their own world with no economic stress was the primary goal. Well, you know how I knew that? I asked. But I could see it when I did the income analysis on page 2. And I'll be honest with you, I did the income analysis back in November, and they didn't know me well enough to open up. And it took me, a couple months to get them to open up. So the primary risk when I showed it to him was on mom. Because his mom, dad, he still had his $10,000 a month coming in. It was the loss of income and the proper funding of that loss that was dominant in both their minds once they saw the potential loss. He knew that the loss was there, but he had never talked with her about it. But he said, Randy, when you were here in November and you showed us that, we've had some serious long talks. Have y'all ever heard me use the phrase pillow talk? Pillow talk's your biggest ally. Sometimes it takes a couple of days or a couple of weeks. But they looked at it and they said, Randy's right. If I die first, and guess who's closer to the cliff? Dad. When I asked the health questions, he's closer to the cliff than she is. So the chance of her losing that $10,000 a month is really, really high. And she knew it. That's why she was downstairs waiting on me and hugged me when I came in the door. She knew it. And that's why she said, I know you're going to help us fix this problem. So I found all this out using the family tree asset positioning go-to first interview. Exactly in the style and method that I've been teaching you. So that was all discovered back in October and November. And the first step was a restatement of their trust. So, that's what took a little bit of time because they already had a trust and I need to go in and make some changes for them. And it took a little bit of time to do. The first step was a restatement of the trust to meet the relationship changes that they were going through because they had realized that the children on one side of the family were not dependable, not reliable, and were really interested in dad's assets and not too much in dad, because from their family side, they were from mom's side. And mom didn't like that. And dad had almost recently passed away in the hospital with a medical problem. So all of a sudden, Randy, everything that you told us almost came true. And we're not prepared for it. And we think you can help us get prepared for that. So when I brought the trust back in the second time, they had already changed their minds again. And I delivered the restatement. It had to be redone. That's why it took 5 months to get this done. I had to get it done a second time. And that was okay because they knew that they could adjust it as relationships followed the course of events. There had been some changes in some of the relationships over Christmas, and they had changed their mind on some of the decisions they had made. So Christmas came and went. A few snowstorms and a busy schedule for both the clients and myself led to the interview yesterday to discuss proper funding. 5 months had passed. So if you're out there thinking that someone hasn't bought from you, give it some time. They don't always have to say, yeah, I'll take exactly what you said. They have to think about it, and you have to nurture those thoughts, and you have to know what the actual benefit is that you've approached them about, and you have to replant the seed a couple of times. Not always, but most of the time. So when I arrived at the independent living facility where the couple lived, mom greeted me with open arms and said, I'm so glad you are here. We need to talk, and you're the only person who knows us well enough to make us make the decisions we need to make. That's almost verbatim what she said. You know what the cool thing was? She said it in front of about 10 people. So we went upstairs and we started talking. This is what I found. I found some annuities, three. That checkerboard there, or that tic-tac-toe board ought to be three annuities, 2 out of surrender, one in a variable contract and one in a low interest environment of 2.4%. And I also found out that they had no need for immediate liquidity. And I looked at him, I said, why do you not need money? So he told me. But there was a desire for making them replace the lost income. Dad looked at me and said, I'm just really concerned that if I pass away, I don't know if we're going to have enough money to take care of Nona as she lives another 15 or 20 years. And I said, well, let's see. So what I found was that they had $500,000 in annuities, $100,000 in cash. They were saving $4,000 per month. And something I didn't know the whole time, it's my fault. They had $800,000 in mutual funds that fluctuate monthly that worries him to death. And he said, I don't know what to do about it. So then I asked Dad a question, and this is something I learned from the Simplicity trainings. And if you take any lesson that I give you, if you'll just take what I'm about to say and hold on to it and use it every chance you get. If you got a pencil, you ought to write it down. But this is something I learned from my simplicity trainings. And that's why I enjoy that company so much, because they teach you to sell, not just to do products. But concerning his age, his health, and the stress of the investments, I looked at him and I said, "Hey, you've already won the game. Why are you still playing?" And he got real quiet. And he looked at me and said, "I don't know. I've never thought about that." And I said, "What happens to Noni if you get sick at the same time the market goes down? You've just shortened the amount of time she has for those assets, haven't you?" And he said, "Yes, it's absolutely true." And can you see how deep the conversations get if you follow the process, and they learn that you're sincere, and they learn that you know things that they need to know, and you have the ability to help them get things they want. They both agreed, and now we're moving $800,000 and redoing those annuities. We're using index annuities to close the cliff and MIGAs with the balance. You know, when we were done, you always know if a client likes you or not. They'll walk you to the door and walk outside and stand on the porch with you. And if that happens, you know that they're sold. If they don't follow you out, they're probably not sold. But if they do follow you out, well, they walked me out of the independent living facility and introduced me to their friends we met along the way. And folks, that's what I call advocation. And that's the step 4 in the cycle of success. So, if you follow the cycle of success and chart your progress using the family tree asset positioning go-to first interview, these results will happen to you. You'll have a suspect that you'll turn into a prospect, that you'll turn into a client who will willingly advocate for you. And, I think we've done 3 closes this week, and every one of them looked at me and said, "If you need any referrals, just let us know." So, you know, this is another secret that I'm about to tell you. And if you don't write it down, it's your fault. And if you don't implement it, you don't want it. But once you get the process rolling, once you learn those how to identify a suspect because you think they would benefit from a conversation with you about their current plan, and you cross that bridge, and they agree to talk to you because they think that they might learn something in which they were not aware. And then you do the process and you draw their family tree and you talk to them about their estate plan and do it in reverse, and then talk to them about their real estate and their long-term care plans, and do their income analysis and ask them about their health questions. And I always tell them, "Hey, you don't even have to answer this if you don't want to." I always let them off the hook. Then you too will become a hero. You know, it, you know, it's just that simple. It's just that simple. And the issues that I see with all the licensees that we have, some people don't see themselves as being successful, so they're not. Some people think they're going to get rejected and they're scaredy cats. But if you use the approach that I teach you and do it 2 or 3 times a day, and put yourself in a position to have that conversation, you won't be scared anymore. You won't be afraid that you're going to get rejected. And you probably be so busy you won't care if they reject you or not. Sometimes people reject me, I go, "Good, I can go home." Because I know the numbers work. So now, I just want to throw it out to you right now. And I'm willing to take some questions here. Are there any questions out there? And if you're sitting silent, tell me why you're sitting silent. Is
Hey,
everything in the chat?
Randy,
Yes. Hey,
this
Carter.
Carter.
Yes.
Hey, I want to say I appreciate what you said about the timing. I've done 3 interviews this past week, and all of them had to pay out a bunch of money in taxes. They said, as soon as we cover from our tax load, we're going to buy it. But I was under
Okay.
thinking, well, I'm a failure because they didn't do it immediately.
No, no, Carter, there's two kinds of reasons when people don't buy. There's real reasons and good reasons. Okay. Now they may have been honest with you and gave you a good reason. Uh, you know, I'll be honest with you, I wrote a check for about $40,000 yesterday, on top of what I'd already paid. And I didn't like it. And it made me think that I would get a quote on my roof next week instead of this week. So uh, you're absolutely right. People, sometimes events occur that they're not in a position to buy right now. And what you should do at that point is say, I understand that. Do you think you'll be ready to do it sometime in a couple of weeks? And let it
Yeah,
make
I've
sure.
got dates to follow up with every one of them.
Good, good, good. That's all I can say to you. Just keep plowing, Carter. You're going to do good at this. Just keep making your presentations. Pretty soon you'll have so many presentations in there that people start buying from you. You won't have time to make presentations. How about other questions? Anything in the chat there I need to know about, Lisa?
In the chat, Randall, Hans says, the more I learn, the less I know. And
Well, who said that? Who said that?
Hans said that.
Who said that?
It's me,
Hans.
Randy. Are you surprised?
No. But you know what? It's not true. Okay. The more you learn, the more you know more than the person you're talking to. Okay. Honest. People will look at you and they will automatically assume that you're an expert in what you're doing. If you will just follow that sales track and guide them through that process. If they say, yeah, and you talk to them and you say, I'm glad you bought this trust and I have some ideas for you, whether you have any ideas or not. I have some ideas for you, but I need to do some research and run some numbers. Would you like to see your numbers? If they say yes, then it's time to go learn more than what you already know. But I'm going to be real, and I tell people this all the time, and I want you to take this with a grain of salt or add it to your list of wisdom. You only have to be one step ahead of the person you're talking to. One step. Okay, so if you tell yourself you don't have the confidence, you wind up with is not as much confidence as you want, and I don't believe that about you. And what I believe is that you're probably better prepared to talk about estate planning to more people in the financial services business than you are aware of. I promise you that. Hope that helped. Any other questions?
In the chat, a Win said the difference in an excuse and an objection.
The difference between an excuse and an objection?
Yes.
Well, you know what? About 6 months ago,
I was actually replying to the comment that was made before when he said that he had received an excuse. And I said, kind of like, we need to know the difference between excuse and objection, because I've always known that there's two very distinct things. Like if you have a true objection, you can overcome an objection. But an excuse is a whole different variety. That's usually you haven't done enough to show them the value.
Okay, that's true, Wayne. I appreciate you
That's
saying
what I was
that.
saying. I'm just at Heather's right now, and she's not here, and I don't know how to turn down her music, so I'm putting it in the chat. Everything in this house is automated. It goes off for no reason.
Sounds like Heather. Okay. Okay, so that's a good thing. Just be aware that I didn't put that sales presentation in the order I put it in haphazardly. Each step, each phase is there at the proper time to guide that person to the next decision that I want them to make. So don't try to rewrite it. Don't try to redo it. It's time tested. And I'll be honest with you, it's good. Use it. So, but don't resist learning it. And you don't have to memorize it. You just have to carry a copy of the agenda with you. And if you forget the agenda, have a copy of the confidential, because the sales presentation follows the confidential. But the sales presentation is weak if you don't use the power phrases. So what, chapter 21, chapter 24, right in the approach in the daily, the 30-day lessons or the fast track training, day 24 or lesson 24 gives you a list of all the power phrases and where to insert them in the sales presentation. I know I'm closer to a sale when they make eye contact with me while I'm using the power phrases. And when they respond emotionally and talk about their family after I ask those power phrases, they're not going to tell me no. And Carter, that I'll tell them to go get the money underneath their mattress if they've got some. They'll laugh at you. If they don't, they'll say no, but they might. They might say, "You're right. Here it is." Okay. So what other questions do you have?
Randall, Susan had a question in the chat.
Okay, Susan, go ahead.
When you discover that they have an estate plan or trust in place, and you realize there is most likely changes from when they put one in place, what are the questions you ask, or what is the conversation that is initiated so that they understand you can assist in updating their plan?
Okay, everybody write this down, because it's the answer. Okay, is everybody ready? Do the family tree, asset positioning, go to first interview. Even if they've already got a trust in force, if you do the first interview, they will follow, and you can go to the table of contents of their existing trust and follow the interview that way. And when you're talking about beneficiaries, look at them and say, let's go, have there been any changes in relationships? Have there been any changes in assets? Have there been any changes in health? Are there, but you'll find those things. You don't have to change anything. When I go do a workshop, you know what I do? I do the family tree, asset positioning, go to first interview in the workshop. I just do it in third person. So every weapon that you have is built into that one interview. Every fear or every I don't know what uncertainty, any doubt that you have can be covered topically in order in the appropriate time with the proper power phrases, whether they have a trust or not. That case that I did yesterday, that's what we did. We just did the go-to first interview. They'd heard it a couple of times, but they said, it makes more sense every time you tell it to us and every time you show it to us. Susan, I hope that answers your question. You already have the tools. Dorothy had the shoes. All she had to do was click them. The Ruby shoes, for those of you who are a little older. Anyway, what other questions you got?
Nothing more in the chat.
Okay, somebody in there's got a question. I know you do. How about coughing it up? Anybody? Not every sale I do is $1.2 million. But I did go back and look through them from September to December, well, even till yesterday. And I'm averaging about $5,000 to $7,000 on every case I do, whether they buy anything from me or not. Now, if you go in and average what your cases are, if you're selling final expense, you're probably averaging $600, $700 on the sale, but then you got to subtract the ones that didn't buy from you. Okay, if you're selling Medicare, it's probably about the same thing. Why not? And another agent told me this a long time ago. If you're not happy with the amount of money that you're making, do two things. One, sell a different product. Two, relocate. Some of you live in an area where you don't have the prospects. My advice to you, move. Go where the big sales are. Okay, don't stay frustrated. Anything else? I'm gonna sign off here if you all don't start asking me questions, because the fun part's answering your questions. I will tell you, it's about today's Tuesday. 2 weeks from today, we have the boot camp in Las Vegas. It's not too late to get in. If you're one of my licensees, it's my treat. I'll buy you breakfast. I'll buy you lunch. You pay your hotel room, and come meet some of the other agents and come meet some of the people that I work with. I'm just trying, then I'm going to be out west in Arizona and California for 2 weeks, talking to some of my licensees and building another network that I'm working on. If you're out in that area and want to make an appointment, I've got a rental car. I can be about anywhere I want to. I'm gonna cut down through Phoenix the first week of May, and then I'm gonna cut over and head north up through California the second week of May, winding up to visit an old paintball buddy friend of mine in Sacramento, and then I'm going to drive back to Las Vegas and hop on a plane, come home. Yes. Question.
Oh, Randy.
Kim.
Yes. I wanted to see if I could get on your calendar while you were in California.
Yeah, you can just go to my calendar, and look what's available and book it. And if I can't make that exact day, I'll go to randallbaxter.com. Okay. And say I want
just your regular calendar.
Yeah, just pick the day, and I'll do my best to meet that day. I might have to adjust it a little bit.
Okay, that's fine.
But if you want it, get on it. So if you're out in California, I know where 271 pre-sold trusts are that need to be delivered. But I will not let you deliver them unless you are one of my licensees, unless you have proven that you can make a sale. And that you need to talk to me about being able to do the family tree asset positioning go-to first interview. If I determine that you can't do those things, I will not offer you those deliveries. Okay, and I hope you think that's fair, but and also you need to be an annual licensee, not a monthly. I need stable people that we can depend on out there. But there's 271 of them that need to be delivered in the next 4 to 6 weeks. And I do not have enough licensees to do that. But I'm going to by the end of May. Anything else?
Randall.
Be sure you go. Yes.
Dixon had a question in the chat. Where is the registration for Vegas? So I put the link in the chat to register for the boot camp. And
okay,
then,
you did. Okay.
Yeah, so the link's in the chat to register.
Hey, yeah, and if y'all want to come, let me know, because I have to put in I have to tell them how many to feed for breakfast and feed for lunch and how many snacks and things to come. If that meeting's not worth $100,000 to you, I'm going to ask you what's wrong. That's how much you're going to learn when you get there.
Don't forget they need that code if it's going to be free.
Yeah, there's a code.
Annual licensees.
Yeah, you annual licensees. If you're not one of our licensees, there's a $99 fee to come to the meeting. And if you want to come to the meeting, just let me know. It might be cheaper for you to become a licensee. But anyway, I've got room for more people. And you're going to meet one of the attorneys that I work with, and you're going to meet Mike Bemis. He's going to do the income sale presentation for us and show us how to do it. And I'm going to teach you what I know and throw in a few surprises. So I hope you'll come. If you're going to be there, you get registered. Any other questions out there?
Then Dixon asked about the hotel. So the link and the hotel details are also in the chat.
Yeah. Okay. They're in the chat there. And
yes.
I think the deadline has passed for the nice room rate, but if you call and get it there, go ahead and book your room and I'll get you that rate. But go ahead.
Dixon wants to know, is it just the 1 day on the 30th of the 4th? Yeah.
If you are licensed with Simplicity, they will invite, if Minnesota, they will invite you to the 2 days that follow. It's a 3-day event. I'm just the host of the first day. But, you know, if you're not licensed with Simplicity, they will not invite you to the second day and third day. But if you think you really want to get into that second and third day, you probably talk to me. I might help you, but I might not help you. Next question.
Annie had a question in the chat. She says, I have an administrative question. Maybe Randall can answer it when we're done. It's regarding
Well,
your
go ahead.
blind.
Well, go ahead and ask your question if you want to, or you can email it to me. And I've got about 2 or 3 conversations I have to do when this is over. And then I have another webinar to do at 5 p.m. So Annie, if you want to email me your question, you can, but I probably can't answer it until early evening. But if you want to ask it, if you're real brave, want to ask it right now, go ahead.
I asked Annie to unmute.
Okay, anybody else? Well, I'm about ready to stop if y'all stopped asking questions, because I've already said what I want to say today. I'll give you 30 more seconds.
Hey, Randy,
Great.
Yes,
can I ask you a funding question?
sure, go ahead.
My 3 people that I talked to last week, 2 of them had life insurance that stays at work, and none of them had long-term care.
Okay.
Do I look for a long-term care rider on a whole life policy, or what would be the best way would you suggest I handle that?
Carter, if you do the questions on page 2 and talk to them about their long-term care, and you talk to them about their income planning and their health, and do their health questions, and then go over to page 3 and line up all their assets, the answer will kick you in the nose. And it could be anything. It might be a life insurance policy. That when you ask the health questions, it may eliminate a lot of your options. Okay, so you got to do page 2 and page 3 to know that you're making the right recommendation. And what new agents do, Carter, is they revert to the product sale too quick. Take your time.
Okay.
And gather your information and look at their assets and look at their health situation, look at their income plan, look at whether you think it's a stable relationship. And then you can start, talking to them about how they want to fund their long-term care, not what to use. Ask them how they want to fund it, and they'll tell you the answer. So don't be too quick to go to product. Does that help?
Well, I'm in the process of exploring all these things to give them several options when we do the funding portion of it.
Okay. The answer, if you do, if I was going to add the Cub Scout honor thing. I'm loyal. Y'all remember what it is? Loyal, honest, thrifty, brave.
I'm sure they loyal, helpful, friendly, produce, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent.
There you go. If you're all those things, they'll give you the answer.
Okay.
Did you hear those?
Yeah, I got those memorized too.
Okay. You're supposed to hold up 2 fingers.
Thank you.
Okay. What else?
Hey, Randy, this is Barbara. I have an administrative question.
Go ahead, Barb.
I'm working with a family. It's a husband and wife, and they have 2 adult daughters. So, for example, on their trustee, they've named each other first line, as the primary, and then daughter 1, daughter 2 as like a backup. But now they're thinking, well, what if all of them are together? Can they add a third name on there? Is it $200? Because there's like Mr. and then Mrs. So would that be $400 for them to each?
Well, okay, no. It okay, and a lot of licensees do this, and Barb, you don't have to. If you get too deep into what ifs and things, right now, if you have a mom and dad and 2 daughters, you might name one daughter as first successor and the second daughter as second successor. And if something happens to that arrangement, you can go in and make those changes for free. If you try to go too deep, then you're going to have to start adding amendments on it and charge them $200. But I would encourage them not to go that deep. I would encourage them to say, are the daughters nearby?
Yes. Yes,
I would
both
name
daughters
one
are
first.
nearby, but they're thinking like, well, what if we're all together, kind of a thing, like we're on vacation and the plane crashes.
Okay.
Do they want to
Okay.
name a sister? I don't know. I mean, you could get really crazy in the
Okay,
weeds.
well,
with that.
the other thing you can do is name the two sisters as co-trustees on the first successor,
Oh, okay,
and then name Aunt Jane.
okay, all right. I didn't even think about that as the co-trustees.
Yeah. But
'Cause I
don't
kinda
don't go
talked
too
them
deep
out
in.
of that initially, not talked them out of it, but.
Well, I
um,
wouldn't go into the $200 fees too much, because you remember what you're selling. They can change it anytime they want to.
Okay, got it.
Okay. Okay. And we'll see you in Las Vegas.
Yes, I can't wait. It's
Yeah,
coming soon.
Okay, be fine. Okay. Any other questions?
Randy, did you say I can email that question to you?
If you want to, Annie,
Okay,
you know, I can't really deal with it, for about 2 hours.
okay, no problem.
Okay.
And
All right.
Randy, I did email something. I have like a little glitch in the system. I need you to have somebody look at.
What's that glitch, Barb?
Under like, okay, so that husband and wife that have the daughters is not
Okay.
on the relationship drop down. It just says other. But daughters should be
I think
in
it says
there.
child, doesn't it? Doesn't it say child?
No,
Mm.
In the software.
Can you go to your thing and see? Hold on a second.
It is for trustees.
Yeah. No, you're talking about for beneficiaries, right?
yes,
They put their name in, and if the family relationship is not on there, just put other. It'll be okay.
Is it a children?
Yeah.
If it's a child, it should be under children, and it will appear as an option for it to add for beneficiaries, and if it's
Okay.
anything other, you put in additional people or organizations.
Okay. Okay. So Benton just pulled it up real quick, and I think you'll find it's children, right? Benton?
Is that who it is?
Yeah.
So it would be listed under children.
Yeah.
And then when you go into add beneficiary under the beneficiary selection, when you go up where it says beneficiary, there's a drop down.
Yeah.
It should allow you to select
Okay.
children, additional people.
Okay.
and organizations.
Yeah,
It
okay,
should show up
okay.
there.
Yeah. There's a yellow button on your software that where you add people.
okay,
And then, but if you're just going and being generic, you name the children. And then when you click it down, there's a drop down and it lets you, answer the questions. It's not a glitch.
Yeah, you have to add the people into there first before you can choose them as beneficiaries. So Barb, did you add the person that you're trying to choose as beneficiary to the people section?
I sent a
Yep.
screenshot. Maybe you should just look at what I'm sending because
So-
it's, I
The
did
children
all
should be
that.
Children tab, and everybody else goes there.
Okay, I'll look at it, and if Jay's here in a minute, we'll get it solved for you today.
Okay,
We'll look at the screenshot. Okay, just be around your email or something, because we'll answer you in a little bit.
Yeah, it's just,
Okay, Barb, anything else?
no, not for me.
if she has it open right now, I can answer it right now.
Well, she just clicked off. I'll let you email her or something. Okay. Well, okay. It's 3:55. I got another show to do at 5, and I've got to get ready for it. And I've got some work here that I need to get done for that. So I don't see any more hands raised. And I guess I'm going to let you go, and we'll talk again next week. And I hope everybody has a great day, and listen to what I taught you today. Don't be afraid to approach people. They need you.
Randall,
Okay.
Hung,
Yes.
Hung said, thank you, Randy. See you in Vegas.
Okay. Who said that?
Hung.
Well, good. All right. I'm going to sign off. Y'all take care. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, bye.
Bye.